Hey, it's Akhtar from Reaching Excellence. In this video, I want to talk to you about the impact of the budget, what that means for you as a property investor, what the opportunities are and what the pitfalls are. So stay tuned. Okay, so we had Rishi Sunak's budget this afternoon, the Chancellor's budget, and it was a really interesting speech to listen to. Now, first off, one of the things I found really quite profound was, I guess, the level of debt that the country's in is quite insane. I think we're in about something like £365 billion worth of debt that the government have had to borrow. They've had to borrow this extra money to kind of keep us afloat and keep the economy going and basically keep the country running whilst we've had this coronavirus pandemic and lockdown. It's been quite insane. And to really understand the fallout and what's happened was quite insane. Now, I've said this in previous videos that this is going to be the biggest recession since records begun. If we go back to when we actually had the first lockdown and it was officially declared that the UK was in a recession, economists were back then were saying it's going to be like the recession of the 1920s, the Great Depression. But actually now they're saying it's going to be like the worst recession since records begun. And it was kind of confirmed today by the amount of money that we've had to borrow, but also when they compared it, they were comparing it to like, you know, the World War. It was that bad. So what does that mean? It means we've got an incredible amount of debt. There's about 700,000 people unemployed at the moment. There's a 10% drop in GDP of the country's output. And there's been about £265 billion of government funding support so far. And there's going to be more going into next year. So one of the things that was said by Rishi was that he predicts that the economy is going to return to where it was by the middle of next year, which sounds very optimistic. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. I haven't got a crystal ball, but it all depends on what happens with Corona. It all depends on how things take, how quickly we can recover and we can come out of this. But also, one of the things he said is the long term is going to take about 5 years to kind of fully recover and get the economy back to where they want it to be. But the debt is going to be around for a long, long time. It's going to take decades to clear this debt. So let's talk about some of the incentives, some of the things that are going on, but also how this is going to impact you as a property entrepreneur or even a business owner, okay? So look, here's what's going to go on at the moment, okay? The furlough scheme has been extended all the way through to September, so people still have 80% of their salary. So what they've kind of done is extended that furlough period. So we weren't sure what was going to happen. A lot of people were predicting come April, the furlough scheme would stop and then, people will drop off a cliff. So that's now been extended, giving people a little bit more time to get back into things or get back into the swing of work, if you like, because what they're going to do is gradually open things back up a little bit at a time, and they're going to just check to see how things go, and they're going to just check to see how Corona is and whether they can keep it under control. Okay, so this is going to happen. They've got self-employed grants available for people. They're going to give them 3 months worth of support of their average profit, so it's going to help those people out. Those people who are in receipt of benefits and universal credit, they get a £20 a week top up. I'm not sure exactly what that means, but they're going to have a lot of other business incentives too as well. So there's going to be various business grants. There's a new business restart grant that comes out in April. It's £6,000, not a great deal of money, but there are some other business loans, and there's a recovery loan that they're bringing out, which is going to be anything from £25,000 up to £10 million for various businesses, okay? So look, what they're trying to do in essence is they're trying to stimulate the economy. They're trying to paper over the cracks, so to speak, and get things moving again. So let's talk about the property and the housing sector. So the thing that a lot of people were wondering about was the stamp duty. What's going to happen with stamp duty? Well, actually, the stamp duty cut has been extended until the 30th of June. So I spoke with one of my power team this morning. A lot of people were super busy trying to get deals across the line because of the deadline. Well, now that's been extended, which means there's going to be more opportunity to buy deals. It means there isn't going to be the slump that we thought might happen. And it just means people will be able to continue buying and taking advantage of the stamp duty cuts for a while. But that's not going to last forever. So after the 30th of June, they're going to drop the stamp duty threshold down from 500k to 250k. That's going to go through to September, and then it's going to revert back to the original £125,000. So we've got a little bit more time, but they're going to taper things off. So I guess what they're going to do is, as we kind of get back into the swing of things, as things open back up again, they're going to kind of taper off some of the benefits as we get back into the swing of things, okay? So that's what's going to happen there. So there's an opportunity to take advantage of that. The other thing that Rishi has said is that he doesn't want generation rent to be a generation rent anymore. He wants us to be a generation of buyers. So what the government have done now is they've got a mortgage guarantee scheme, which means people could now buy properties. I think at the end of the month or the end of April, they'll be able to buy properties with a 5% mortgage, and the rest of the loan will be underwritten and backed by the government. Now, this sounds all great and exciting. However, this still comes down to your affordability and you qualifying for mortgages. So you may be able to get a 95% mortgage, but it's all going to be determined down to your credit score, your affordability, and everything else. So although on one hand it's going to be a benefit, the criteria normally for 95% mortgages is pretty tough to get through. So what's that going to mean for the property market? Well, it means it could stimulate things. It means first-time buyers or people who can get on the ladder, or people who couldn't get deposits but have got higher earnings can get on the ladder. Again, that can stimulate things for a bit. That can mean that there's going to be first-time buyers or people who want to get on the ladder looking for property deals. But again, it's going to be down to affordability. The downside of that is, and what we've seen recently with lenders is that, sometimes lenders, when it comes to first-time buyers or people moving up and down the ladder, so to speak, not buy-to-let investors, those lenders can sometimes be picky. They can sometimes pull mortgages. They can sometimes ask loads of questions, and they can be very, very twitchy about someone's employment history and the stability they've got. So if someone has the right employment, they have the right level of income, they're more likely to get those. But for the average Joe, it might still be a bit tricky, okay? So look, this is what's going to happen. Now, I think when you look at this collectively, everything sounds very, very promising. It sounds great. There's going to be things like VAT cuts. There's going to be, incentives around income tax and everything else. They're not going to hike everything up to recover the monies that have been spent. It's going to be like a little tapering off so that things are going to be easy and the economy has a chance to recover. But I think, personally, that they're going to be papering over a lot of cracks. I think there's still going to be people falling out. Now, if you are sourcing property deals and you're going to go to, mainstream kind of estate agents and looking for deals that way, you're going to find whilst we've got the extended stamp duty cut and everything else, the market, there'll still be people buying stuff. There'll still be people looking to have their fill. But when that stops, things are going to slope off a little bit. You will find motivated sellers. And the thing is, I'm a big fan of going direct to vendor, looking for motivated sellers. You will find a certain amount of stock with agents and stuff like that where you're going to find motivated sellers, but it's not going to be as much as if you go to direct to vendor. I think what's happened is it's going to paper over a lot of the cracks, but behind the scenes, we've still got business owners that are struggling. You've got people who have been furloughed. You've got a lot of people that are unemployed. You've got a lot of debt. You've got a lot of defaults. You've got a lot of distress. And behind the scenes, what you're not going to see is the amount of people that have been affected by it. I recently spoke to a landlord that wanted to get rid of a portfolio of properties because they were distressed. You're going to see more and more of those people having the fallout coming out. So if you are someone who is quite savvy and you're doing some direct to vendor marketing, you're going to snap up a lot of opportunities. Now, one of the things that we do in the Reaching Excellence, I guess behind the scenes with myself and my business partner, we don't just buy properties, we buy businesses. So one of the things that we're seeing as a pattern and trend since we've had Corona is that there are more and more motivated business sellers that want to sell their businesses. So there's still going to be opportunities out there. There's still going to be distressed people out there. And if you're smart and you're savvy, you want to be looking for those distressed sellers that are motivated, that want to get out of their problem or their property or whatever it may be. And you want to be looking for those opportunities that are going to be discounted, or you're going to be able to do deals creatively under your terms. So that's kind of my predictions for what this budget means for you. There's always going to be deals out there. There's always going to be opportunities out there. When there is a downturn in the economy, when there is a crash, when there is a recession, there's always more opportunities. So one of the biggest things that people have is a mindset block. You have to believe that this stuff exists. You have to believe these motivated sellers exist out there. People think seeing is believing. It's not. You have to believe it first to then see it. So we're seeing like more and more people that are getting distressed. We're seeing more and more distressed and motivated seller leads coming in through our marketing systems. They're going to be more and more out there. So if you want to capitalize on those opportunities, I think what's going to happen is probably when we get to, as the stamp duty kind of cut sort of slopes off towards sort of the end of the summer, I think what we're going to start to see is things slowing down a little bit and more motivated sellers out there. So that's my take on things. That's my kind of predictions. Me and my team, we're going out there and we're aggressively looking for motivated seller deals. That's why we've set up various online marketing funnels to find those kind of motivated sellers. And that's also what we teach inside the academy. So I hope you found this video useful. Keep doing the work, keep leveling up, keep reaching excellence, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Take care. Bye for now.